So I've seen this video going around of a dad holding his daughter's teenage boyfriend's hand, and the caption says, reminding my daughter's boyfriend that what he does to her, I will do to him. And look, I know this is supposed to be a joke. I know he thinks he's being a protective dad, but let's talk about what's actually happening here because the reality is that this joke reflects a far too real reality that is often confused with being a good father. First off, the kid in the video looks uncomfortable, like deeply uncomfortable. And why wouldn't he be? He's being physically grabbed by an adult man who's making a thinly veiled threat of violence. That's not parenting, that's a crime. But that's what really bothers me about these protective dad videos. They're all built on the same premise that your daughter is your property that needs to be guarded from other evil men. He knows what other men are like because that's what he is like. Not all men, unless we're talking about our daughters, then all of a sudden these dads become feminist icons who fully understand why women choose the bear. But what is your daughter hearing in those moments? It's never about her judgment, her choices, or her ability to recognize what she deserves. It's always, I'm going to intimidate this boy because my daughter belongs to me. I have daughters, two of them. And the idea of them getting hurt by someone they care about fucking terrifies me. But you know what terrifies me more? The idea that they wouldn't trust me enough to tell me if something went wrong. That they would suffer in silence rather than let their dad know that his property was damaged. Because that's what messages like this actually teach your daughter. That when it comes to her relationships, her body, and her choices, you don't trust her. You trust yourself. You trust your ability to intimidate and threaten, but her judgment, her ability to navigate her own relationships, that doesn't factor in. I want my daughters to date. I want them to have experiences, make their own choices. Yes, even make mistakes sometimes because that's how you learn. That's how you figure out what you want and don't want in a partner. And I need to have faith that I've been doing enough as a parent that I don't also need to helicopter their relationship choices. Faith that I've modeled what a healthy relationship looks like. Faith that I've taught them that they deserve to be treated with respect and kindness. Because here's the other thing that these videos never address. When you make it clear that there will be violent consequences for anything that happens to your daughter, you're not protecting her. You're isolating her. Now, if something does happen, if things get more intimate than you'd like, if a situation makes her uncomfortable, if God forbid something actually harmful occurs, she can't come to you because she knows you'll react with violence. She knows there will be consequences not just for him, but for her for letting it happen. So she won't tell you. She'll handle it alone, or she'll tell a friend, or she'll just deal with it because you've made it clear that her relationships are about your control, not her safety. And let's talk about what this threat actually is. Whatever you do to her, I'll do to you. We've normalized this so much that we sell t shirts about it. But think about what's being said here. This isn't just a threat of violence, it's an implicit threat of sexual violence. The joke only works because everyone understands what whatever you do to her means. This is a grown man making sexualized threats to a teenage boy to assert ownership over his daughter's body and sexuality. And we call it protective. We call it good parenting. This is patriarchy in action. It's the idea that women's bodies and sexuality need to be controlled, first by fathers, then handed off to husbands. Your daughter isn't a person making her own choices about her own body, she's property being transferred between men, and you're just making sure the next owner knows the rules. Look, that fear, that protective instinct, it's real. I understand it, but that fear is about me. It's about my discomfort with them growing up. It's about my anxiety about not being able to control every aspect of their lives anymore. And it's not their responsibility to manage my feelings. It's my responsibility as a parent to deal with my own emotions like an adult. You know what actual protection looks like? It looks like creating an environment where your daughter feels safe coming to you if something goes wrong. It looks like teaching her what healthy relationships look like by modeling one yourself. It looks like raising her to understand that her body, her choices, and her boundaries belong to her, not to you and not to any boy she dates. It doesn't look like grabbing a teenage boy's hand and threatening him on the internet. Your job as a father is to model what a good man looks like, to show both your daughter and any boy she dates what it means to treat women with respect, to demonstrate healthy masculinity, not to threaten him, not to intimidate him, not to make him fear you. Because if the only reason he treats your daughter well is because he's afraid of you, he's not a good boyfriend. And you're not a good father. You're just a bully who found a socially acceptable target. And more importantly, you've just taught your daughter that her safety comes from male control and threats of violence, not from her own judgment and autonomy. That her body is something that men negotiate over, not something she has full ownership of. Your daughter is a person, whether or not you're comfortable with that reality. Treat her like one, trust her like one, and maybe let go of that kid's hand.